Inspirational. Hello, Lee Kemp here for another week on the podcast. Jose cannot be with us, but Ryan is here. I'm glad to say, Ryan, how are you?
Dream Team keeps on rolling.
This is it. Generally the best performing episodes are when Jose's not here, which 100% is true, but I want him to hear that on the playback nonetheless.
The best part was you cut out as you said is true, so it makes it sound like you said it is actually true.
That is what I was saying.
True.
I didn't cut out. It is 100% true. We are the best. Dragging Jose. I'm not even sure why he's here. I think we just boot him off permanently now. Jose, you're sacked. You're done. You're gone. Right, so
Bless him.
Moving on from that, we do miss you really. As you said, Ryan, earlier we had a little chat. You thought it might be you. Then you thought, oh, it might be Jose to talk today. He is not here. So I've gone and we had a little chat just before I hit play about our good friend, Mr. ChatGPT. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, have a look and assess the podcast Inspirational, understand what we do and suggest a topic. And it had suggested a topic. And I've deliberately not read this, so I'm going to do this reading it for the first time as we go through the podcast. So we are suggested, and for those on YouTube, I'm sorry, I have to lean up to look at my screen, so you see lots of my close-up shots on my nose, really, as I lean into the webcam. We are discussing today the psychology of regret and redemption. And the thematic arc for our episode, obviously it's running it out like a program here, we're talking through like a show format as well as doing the format. It's regret. It helps that I can't pronounce that word as we talk about it a lot. Regret, redemption, and reimagine the future. So it says that this aligns with our central theme. Regret is universal. Many people feel the struggle. Blah 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 blah. So possible subtopic and segment for the episode. We're going to work through these as 5. So number 1, defining regret. So we'll open with saying what is regret and how do we feel about it. And I'm going to give you an example for me which I use as a base going through this, and you can decide if you want to just springboard off mine or give one myself. But I came up with an idea. Well, in fact, I've had a few of these over the years, business plan ideas where I come up with something I want to do. I mean, I think I did the first one when I was like 16 or 17 or something. And generally, I'll put a lot of time, probably too much time, into planning the idea, formulating it, run it out, put it out there, and then I normally falter. So I had one years ago, which absolutely would be a dead business by now. So it's kind of good it didn't work out. But at the time, I lived in a town that had a lot of hotels, and I wanted to be like a marketing agency for the hotel. So I would basically do all their marketing, do the adverts, design them, pay for them, etc., 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 and get a commission for doing it. And actually, I did this for a hotel I worked in at the time. Made a little bit of money from them, arranging a load of Christmas parties and stuff. I actually had 2 other hotels sign up to want to be involved, and I bottled it on having my meetings with them. I don't know why, and the idea kind of fizzled out. But I think there would have been something there if I stuck with it. And I think it was probably my age at the time is where it kind of fell to bits when it became very real. And I've done a few other things over the years, a lot of online type things. And I get to that stage of putting stuff out there, and I kind of give up when you get to the grind of pushing it through. And I think I've got quite a few regrets over time of when I'm like, that really could have worked out with stuff. But now chances are it may not have worked out, but the problem is I don't know because I never, I let it fizzle out when it got to kind of the getting your head down and pushing through stage. I think I let an initial, if there was an initial knockback or an initial lack of interest, it killed my momentum straight away, which it really shouldn't have, because that's what you kind of expect. So that's my regret theme, I think, is giving into adversity too quickly.
By the way, can we talk about how much of a personal thing it is to talk about what your regrets are in life, especially
True,
on a public platform? Yeah. So we've come a very long way in our.
We have. I mean, it probably isn't when we started. Those ones could feel quite safe to me because they're not now and they're not relevant to anything I'm doing now. So I'll put that out there just to say that I feel in a safe space talking about those ones.
I actually had a regret in mind, and then we changed the subject, and I've lost it.
Was it letting me talk so you forgot what you were talking about?
Oh no, what was it? Oh, I'm not going to sit here in silence because that's never going to work, is it?
Well, if it comes back to you, Sorry, you were going to say something there. So if it comes back, throw it in, but say what you're going to say.
Oh no, I got it. I am actually going to springboard off of yours, but for a totally different aspect of life. I for reasons that will become apparent, I got to the point of I was always told when I was younger that I was quite an intelligent kid. I ended up not taking. We have something called an 11 plus in Kent where I live.
The
Does everybody
only,
have that?
I know, there's the only county in the whole country that does 11 plus, so you probably want to explain it out a little bit.
Oh, okay. For a minute there, I thought you were being
No,
sarcastic.
no,
So,
true.
okay.
Genuinely true.
So, uh, as I understand it, because I ended up not taking it, the 11 plus is a test completed for primary school students in Kent, apparently, that are in year six, which, if you are American, I think is the fifth grade, sixth grade, something like that. And this test is set out to help understand if the child taking it would benefit from attending a grammar school, or a sports school, or anything that kind of helps progress them academically. I think the test relates more to STEM type questions, and some grammar schools in Kent don't allow admission unless you have passed the test. Basically, it's just an assessment of where your knowledge is at the age that you're at. And so I was always told that I was an intelligent child. I didn't take the 11 plus because I wanted to go to a school local to me. And I think I started to associate that with not having to put effort in, because I stopped really trying when I started doing my GCSEs in like year 10 and year 11, 15, 16 years oldish. Because I don't know, I thought I'd just walk it, which doesn't sound unfamiliar for my personality for those people that know me. But I thought I'd stopped revising. I knew a lot of things in lessons. I knew that I was going to do okay, but and that would have been enough because I'd passed and I got good grades and I'd get through college or sixth form, whatever I wanted to do. And I did. That did happen, and I didn't put any effort in, and I did get away with it. And I got into sixth form, all good, no problems. And then I did the same thing for my A levels, and I did pass them, but I could have. My regret is that at the point where you needed to push through and actually do the real effort, which is kind of what Lee's regret was referring to, I also bottled it because I guess I thought I was too good for it, which I think is probably a fair understanding again, if you know me, of what my personality can be like. But that's probably a regret because I could have done better. And there are some times now that I regret not pushing through and going to university and studying what I wanted to study, because I still think my life would be in a similar position if I'd have done that. But I took the route of earning money and going to work rather than doing more education that I'd already didn't really enjoy because I kept bottling it.
See, that's a good story. I mean, and it ties in with where we'll go with this then, so that's good. Thank you for sharing that. So that's the next bit. So talks about defining regret, and it says there's different bits. You get instant regret, it's got decision regret, existential regret, action versus inaction. I think that's a big one. Affects my ties in, but I don't think my regrets were immediate. I've got a very good way of kind of, we talked about, we not use the word for ages, compartmentalising. Just, I'm very pragmatic. Whatever's happening, I'm like, right, what's next, what's next, what's next? And I think it's only retrospectively I look back and I regret things. I'm very good at justifying in the moment and then looking back. So I definitely think I have that longer term view of it. But what it says is the cost, what it can do to you. And it's got here, it's got, paralysis, procrastination, low self-esteem, danger of staying stuck. And I see all those things looking back in some of those things that I'm quite a entrepreneurial person at heart. And I don't just mean that from a way of, setting up businesses, because I'm not a business person, business owner now. I work for a business, but I employ a very entrepreneurial mindset in what I do. I'm very much taking control, taking ownership, coming up with new ideas, all those things that go with that. Whereas I don't think I did. I think I kind of gave those sort of things a go, and I looked at them with the wrong view. It was all about, well, I want to do this because I want to run a business because I want to make money. That is, that is the wrong goal whatsoever. And through lots of things, including our good friend Jose and the conversations the three of us have, I'm much more about in the moment. What am I doing? What do I take from that? What are the small things that are happening, and taking, solving those problems, living in the moment, taking joy in the little things, rather than that kind of, well, if I can't get to the end result of the big picture straight away, I'm not interested. And I definitely think that stunted for a while because I was too much the other way, that I just gave up trying to take control of everything, and I just went with the flow too much. And there's a big time where I was just kind of bobbing along and I wasn't controlling my own destiny because I'd almost given up on it too quickly. And I think that when you talk about the cost, I think that definitely sets in, or you think, oh, well, look, I tried that, it didn't work, I can't do that, I'm going to go on. And I definitely, looking back, see those things definitely happening for me. So when we talk about cost of regret, it definitely, you kind of steer away from whatever that thing is, don't you, in a different direction, rather than, buckling down and trying again.
Yeah, and sometimes it isn't even deliberate that you're doing that, right?
Oh, 100%,
Because
completely unaware of
life
it.
gets in the way, right? Yeah, things happen and you think, yeah, I'll go back to that, and you just don't tend to sometimes. And that's also okay because, priorities come up in life and things change, and you have to be adaptive to that, and that's okay. But as long as you can own that you did all you could with what you had, then you did all you could, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, there's it kind of ties back a bit to what we talk about, all the analogies around if you fall off the bike, get back up, go again, etc. And I read something once I refer back to quite often, which is you should give it 100% every day, but what 100% is could be completely different. Some days, for whatever reason, you can't give as much as other days, and that's okay. You don't just fall out for that point. And I think there's lots of those where I'd hit those lower ebbs, and it's like, well, this isn't just working, it's off, it's out again. Giving up too quickly is the theme for me through a lot
Yeah.
of this great story. So moving forward, suggestion from our good friend is talking about frameworks and tools for reimagining the future, because we're both at a point where I think we can look back at those things, we've got more control on it. And the things it's got here, I'll list the bullets and then say what it makes me think of. But you've got cognitive reframing, so reinterpreting the meaning, micro steps and small it's definitely reading the word right, micro steps and small bets to regain agency, rituals, journaling, Jose, you'll love that, pilgrimage, and it's got accountability, community, therapy, mentoring. So where I am now, where I say it, so I look back at those things, and you can look back on regrets, and that's the example. Obviously, there's lots of them that everyone has in life for various things. And I think the key thing I know now, which hopefully as time goes on I know even better, is not to dwell on them. What can you take from it? What can you learn? If I look at these things where I gave up, it's not like, well, I had my chance and it's blown it. It's making sure going forward I don't do that. I quite often have rooted in my head, there's an image I see every so often on like LinkedIn or Twitter or X as it is now called and has been for many years, of someone mining in the ground and they've stopped just before
Oh,
they hit a
it's like,
diamond.
and
And
there's the guy above them.
yeah, and it's that I'm
Yeah.
always like, am I just about to? And again, you don't flog a dead horse on stuff, but I keep reminding myself of that so I don't do that again. So that's definitely in this cognitive reframing thing. I think is I use that to be like, learn from the past, don't delete it, and push on. And actually, it's little steps. So if I'm at step 7 of 10, stop worrying about 10 and just dive into 7. Look, I'm at the moment, similar way of using that, I don't know if we talked on air or off air about this, but I'm trying to get my fitness level up. So I've got a cross trainer. I've started using it. I started at a pitiful level. I'm still at a pitiful level, but I'm at a far less pitiful level than I was a month ago. And it's tiny step, tiny step, tiny step, tiny step in the right direction, not trying to do too much too fast, which I think can be another thing in the past. So it's all those little things in my head trying to cement these, little and often, frequent, what's the good that can be taken from this small step rather than worrying about the big picture thing, and trying to do all those things so that I don't fall into that trap of getting overwhelmed by the big picture or wanting it to be there too quickly or comparing myself to other people, just being in my head against what I'm doing. I think there's some of the things I do to do that. And accountability is a big one that stuck out. This is for me because we as a group talk about these things quite often. And I think that
Yeah.
really helped, sharing these things, putting them out there, talk to people about it, just helps drive that accountability as well. There you go.
Yeah.
There's my ramble on framework and tools that help with, not leaning into regret and taking a more positive angle, I think, on things.
I think we must have done a subject that's along the lines of this, but the failure isn't a failure if you learn something from it type mentality is
Yes.
because you learn a lesson from things and stuff like that. We must have done loads of podcasts on that subject, and this is just another nod in that direction. I think for us, the we are as a trio evidence that people grow and change through life and knockbacks and successes. Like when we started in 2020, I wasn't even on the podcast. I was just here to make sure that it recorded and edited and
You wormed
and
your way in
worked, and
against our resistance.
I did, yeah. And I remember that there used to be, and we've referenced this before, but there used to be like 5 minutes worth of cut, cut. That was crap. Cut. That was crap. We'll try that again. And that was where we were. And there came a point. I'm not sure what one of us did it. There came a point where one of us said to the others, "Look, this doesn't happen on any of the other podcasts we listen to. So let's just have the conversation. And if we get something wrong, we get something wrong. We move on." And
Yes.
we grew, and we took that feedback from each other, and we moved forward, and there we are, there we were. And things evolve, people evolve, and that doesn't just come through time. That comes through experiences and failures and having regrets or not having regrets and being able to kind of dispel them and let them go and things like that. So I think as long as you can take lessons from the things that are going on around you, or the things that have happened to you, or the mistakes that you've made, or the successes that you've had, then you're doing something right. I think that's something people should try and remember.
Good view, very good view. So what it says here, there's a bit on here about setting apart for it. So it's laying out the format for this and why it's a good subject. It's got many growth podcasts, which is what it categorizes us as, is the word I'm trying to use. What it categorizes us as growth podcasts, and it says they focus on how to be better, habit hacks, productivity, and saying if you dig into the emotional existential weight of regret, and that's when people most feel stuck. And I wanted to say, for me, and I think it is a message we've started to push out there. I don't think there are habit hacks. You can't. There's no quick fix for this that suddenly makes everything better overnight. And it's the journey. There's 6 years worth of this getting on on the podcasting, 5.5 years worth of this, of us talking about this, that there are no quick fixes. There's no instant change. There's no tip we can give people here that's going to go off and change their life. You habits and thought patterns and stuff like that is really slow to change and build and grow, and it's all about those little small everyday habit changes is what really builds this, including not getting into regret, looking at what you do. One of the things I like here, it says it's got, because redemption's a theme here, obviously, how you turn regret round, and it's got when redemption's not linear, and actually sometimes there's lingering consequences from things, there's things you can't fully undo or fix, and actually how to make peace with ambiguity, because again, there's no clear linear track on this stuff, and your view on these things may change over the years, back and forth, and it's just about how you resonate in the head and how you turn that into things that help you going forward rather than hinder you. But again, that's all about mindset, and it only happens with practice, conscious practice,
Yeah.
unconscious practice, talking to people like we do, putting these things in place. It's hard work, but it's not hard work because it's exhausting. It's hard work because it takes time, and you kind of have to again lean into that and know that you're not going to come out. There is no boot camp you go on for 2 weeks that turns you into a different person. It's little onward habits, being open with yourself, being honest with yourself, and actually knowing that when you do slip in whatever it is you're working on, you just keep going. It's not just a forward line, it's that curvy line that goes all over the place and sometimes backwards, but hopefully ends up with you getting to where you want to be, or getting to be a version of what you want to be that just keeps evolving and changing over time.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We've said it countless times that it's all about taking small steps, and small steps are better than no steps.
100%. I'll put it out there. I'll share it. So, cross trainer, I started from a 0 point where my fitness is terrible. I could get exhausted walking up the stairs. I started, and I'm on. My plan is to get to, and this is what it says for a moderate workout, that I'm on that I get to like intensity level 10, and I'm doing it for half an hour, 3 to 4 times a week. That's the goal. I started. I didn't even make. I was finding reasons to stop within 5 minutes of my first run. It was terrible. So I did a couple like that. I got to where I was pushing myself to get to 10 minutes. Sometimes 7, sometimes 8. Got to 10. Hit my first distance milestone. This is on resistance 0, by the way. It's terrible. Got to where I was averaging 2.5k, then 3k, and I've been doing that for about a month. And I'm now at. I got to the other day, it's 15 minutes was the next goal I got to where I was working on. I haven't worked my way up. And I got plus 10, and I was like, oh, it's a real struggle. And I compromised in my head that, right, if I get to 5k, wherever that is, I can stop. And I did that at about 14, so I stopped. Next day, I was like, right, I did 5k, that's fine. I'm going to push it to 15 minutes this time. And I got there, and actually, I just gone to like 5.1. I'm like, I can do 5.5. And I actually went through to 5.5. Today, it was like, right, I'm either going to get to 15 minutes or 5.5, whichever is furthest, if you like. And actually, I did 16 minutes and 6k because I got to that bit of just pushing a bit more, which again is pitiful in terms of what I'm looking to do, because I'm still on resistance 0, so it's like I'm running on air, but it's worlds away from, God, I can't even make 5 minutes. And incrementally, and I'll mention it every so often, the goal is that resistance 10, 30 minutes, because that 3 or 4 times a week, because that should be enough with eating right to maintain and slowly kind of bring down rate. And the biggest bit is move out my health. So I'm still well away from where I want to be, but being a completely different person than I was when I was 16, 17, 18 and threw in the towel. I'm actually really pleased with where I am, instead of being like, God, I've still got a mile to go. And hopefully that'll get there. So I'll keep, again, just putting it out there. That is where that is. But, you know, that's me living what I'm talking about now, about being pleased with the little gain, knowing that that's part of the journey. And if I keep doing it every day in 3 months' time, hopefully I'm talking a completely different story than I am now.
Yeah.
There you go.
No,
There's a second share for you of the
day. That's really impressive, because, you know, we spoke ages ago about we wanted to do a couch to 5k, and then ended up going back to South Africa. So I kind of put it off because of that. And then when I came back from South Africa, I had to move. And now I've moved. I'm in a position where you can't see it because it's just off camera. But when you spoke to me earlier on the phone, there would have been the camera there, because that's where my work one is. And you'd have potentially seen a cardboard box over my shoulder. And that is what's got my walking pad in it.
Ah, cool. You got it. Love it.
When I moved into the flat, I also bought a sit stand desk leg set. So I took the desktop from my previous desk and drilled it into this standing desk, so I can put it under my desk. And I'm going to try and do that weird Gen Z thing of working and walking at the same time.
That's good. That's a good goal.
I don't think it's going to go very well.
You never know. You just got to try.
But indeed, yes, just got to try it, got to start, and then go from there. My end goal, or not end goal, but my goal, kind of similar to your resistance 10 for 30 minutes, is I want to get to a point where I do 10k steps a day as a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And then we see where we get to from there.
No, that's good. That's a fantastic goal to kick it off with, and to work your way to, because you won't just do that overnight. So that's really good.
Yeah.
Here we go. Look 100%. At us living accountability. And it's, again,
Always.
I was religious at the gym, and then I stopped when I hit about 30. It'd be so easy to be like, oh, I wish I just kept going, as if that's it, it's done. And in fact, there was a time when I wish I kept it going, but actually, just bloody start it now, which is what I'm doing. We'll see where it goes.
Exactly that.
My legs feel
Exactly
slightly
that.
wobbly already from what I did earlier, which again was pitiful, but hopefully that'll get better.
It will build itself up.
Right. My good friend, Mr. GPT, we thank you for giving us a great topic. I spoke to someone the other day who referred to Colin Pilot as being the person who had helped him out with certain activities that he did. So we thank Colin for the inspiration for our topic today. Hopefully this resonates with people when it starts to make you think about what you want to do. Again, this isn't big bang life change. This is just hoping to give encouragement to people on all the everyday things that everybody's doing. There is, as I referenced earlier, we've been doing this 5 years now. You can go back, you listen to it. In fact, there was someone last week downloaded every single episode of the podcast in one go. So whoever you are, once you get to this, we thank you for your dedication to listening to what you're doing. And we probably apologise for some of the early stuff we said that might be nonsense. Inspirationnation.org.uk. No, get it right. Inspirationnation.org.uk is where you find all of that. Jose, although he's not with us, he is all the time on social media. He lives on TikTok and YouTube. He's doing a bit on Instagram as well now. So just Jose Noya, is it Jose Noya _Inspiration? If you put Jose Noya and Inspiration Nation into your Google machine, you will find him. Follow, get involved. There's loads of great stuff out there. He just loves to help and inspire, which is what's happening every single day. We will be back next week. There may be 3 of us, there may be 2 of us, there may be 1 of us. Who knows? But we will be back next week. We appreciate everyone supporting. Tell friends, tell family, leave reviews. Just whatever app you're in, you can just forward the link to people. Just forward it in your WhatsApp group to people and say, give this a listen. We appreciate all that. That's the best way to support us. We're back next week. I'll count us down. 3, 2, 1. Inspiration Nation.
Inspiration Nation.
Catch you guys
later.